Hey guys, Bios and Ramos, and man oh man, did the Miami Dolphins drop a crucial one in their Week 5 matchup at Carolina, losing by a score of 24-27. Dolphins did not come out on top on this one, dropped to 1-4. Meanwhile, the Panthers improved to 2-3 and 2-0 at home. So things are looking good so far this season for the Panthers, at least at home with Dave Canales and Bryce Young. Speaking of Bryce Young, bounce back performance. Early on in this matchup, had 2 turnovers in the first half and was able to be efficient and smart with the football moving forward after the fact in the second half. And that was a big moment there where the Panthers came back in the second half and was really able to keep things rolling, especially on the ground with Rico Dowdle going almost, I believe, for 200 yards rushing, 206 to be exact. So not so great rushing defense by this Miami Dolphins team. The passing attack in terms of offense was great. Running game was awful. 16 total yards on the ground for the Dolphins on the offensive side of the football. Not great, especially when you have a young and up-and-coming running back like Devon Achane. You got to get that guy the football in the running game. It was looking decent in the first couple of drives, but they strayed so far away from it. But you can also look back and see how the Dolphins were madly inefficient with the offensive side of the football. Just in general, just short drives and not looking good. Now, let's talk about it. We have some team stats here. Third down efficiency was not great for the Dolphins. 5 of 13, and they did not convert on their last 6 third downs. They went 1 for 1 on fourth down. Meanwhile, the Panthers, 5 of 11 on third down, 2 of 2 on fourth. Dolphins ran 53 total plays of offense. Panthers had 65. Total yards of offense, the Dolphins had 248. Meanwhile, the Panthers had 418. And then we look at the passing stats. Dolphins had 229 yards passing. Meanwhile, the Panthers had 179. And then we look at the rushing one. It's completely lopsided there, and that's arguably where the Dolphins lost the game on the offense side of the football. 19 total yards of offense rushing the football for the Dolphins. Panthers 239, big time ground game by them today. Penalties were a big problem for this Dolphins team. 9 penalties for 64 total yards. Meanwhile, the Panthers 8 penalties for 46. Dolphins did win the turnover battle. They forced 2 turnovers in the first half. Aside from that, not so great defensively, especially in the run game. Now, with all that being said, let's get into the highlight. We're going to go into the box score and just talk about how the Miami Dolphins' lack of execution led them to losing this one against Carolina Panthers. All right, let's get into this one. Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins on the road at Carolina after their Week 4 win against the New York Jets on Monday Night Football. Started early here with some turnovers. Bradley Chubb jumps on a Bryce Young fumble, and he's liking the celebration. He's running through the tunnel of players here. The Dolphins defense looked really well, especially with these turnovers early. But Dolphins capitalized off of that one with the Devon Achane receiving touchdown. Shout out to him. Big, nice toe tap. He had to check back with the official before he could celebrate. He's like, yes, sir. Following Panthers drive, Bryce Young throws an interception to Minkah Fitzpatrick, overthrows his receiver, and Minkah Fitzpatrick tries to return it, but to no avail. Gets shut down relatively earlier. But hold up, that's duck, goose. Nice celebration there by Minkah Fitzpatrick and the remainder of this Dolphins offense. Offensively, Dolphins able to capitalize with a Darren Waller touchdown. And Dolphins are rolling here, up 17 early. But Carolina Panthers aren't dead just yet. Xavier Legette gets his first touchdown of the season. And Bryce Young feeling good, bouncing back, celebrating with his head coach, Dave Canales. And now in the second half, Rico Dowdle already running all over this Miami Dolphins defense. Finally hits some pay dirt and gets in the end zone for 6. His lead back, Chuba Hubbard, excited for him to get in the end zone there. But Dolphins able to retaliate with a big bomb to the Jalen Waddle for 6. Tua's liking. He's feeling the gunslinger mentality. But the Panthers aren't done just yet. Speaking of which, Bryce Young finds Mitch Evans in the end zone for 6. Big TD slam right there. That's what we call a Gronk spike. But Dolphins defense trying to get a 3-and-out, and on third down, Jack Jones gets called on the PI with Hunter Renfrow, and it's blatant. It's very, very bad. He was getting away with a couple throughout this game. Finally caught up to him, unfortunately. Bryce Young liking that, gets the first down and secures himself the win. Dave Canales, Mike McDaniel meeting at midfield. Shout out to these 2 former Alabama quarterbacks meeting at midfield as well, Tua and Bryce Young. Man, that was a very, very bad one for the Miami Dolphins. They had the lead. They had control of the game pretty much the entire way through. and you end it in such a bad fashion, leaving a really, really bad taste in Dolphin fans' mouths after you had control of this game pretty much the whole way through. What happened? Lack of execution. Not staying committed to a running game. Failure to stop the run. You allowed a backup running back to run for 206 yards. That is awful. This defense, man, it's very bad, but the offense is just as bad. Could not convert a third down for 6 consecutive attempts. That's bad. That's bad football. It's crazy the inverse of how this game went. First half, Dolphins looked amazing, forcing turnovers, scoring touchdowns, getting down the field, really efficient with the football. Second half, complete opposite. Could not force a turnover, could not stop Rico Dowdle. And then offensively, couldn't get a third down, couldn't convert a third down. Drives are stalling out. It's baffling. It's baffling. This offense team is bad. It is a bad team. Now, does this organization make some drastic moves to right the ship, course correct? I don't know. I think they're just going to ride this one out and see how it goes. At this point, you kind of want them to stay in control and continuously lose games that they should probably win. It is what it is. Ah, man, that's really upsetting. Let's talk about some box score stats, individual stats here. Tua went 26 of 36 for 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, but was sacked 3 times for a loss of 27. Meanwhile, Bryce Young, 19 of 30, 198 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, sacked 3 times for a loss of 19. Miami Dolphins had 19 yards on the rushing, 16 of those coming from Devon Achane. Do not understand why they stopped giving him the football in the running game. Just lack of foresight there. Panthers had 239 yards on the ground, but it was all pretty much from Rico Dowdle, who had 23 carries, 206 yards, and a touchdown. Etienne had 4 carries for 22. Jimmy Horn had 2 carries for 10, and Bryce Young had 3 carries for 1. Meanwhile, receiving, Dalen Waddle had a breakout game this season for this season so far. 6 receptions, 110 yards, 1 touchdown, longest of 46, which was that big touchdown bomb. Darren Waller did well once again. 5 receptions for 78 total yards and a touchdown. And then Devon Achane, 6 receptions for 30 and a touchdown. So he got involved in the passing game, but honestly, the running game was where it was lacking, and it's not really his fault. They didn't give him the football. Let's keep it moving. Dolphins had 256 yards receiving. Pretty good, but once again, the offense was not balanced and not favorable to getting a winning play and winning style mentality. And Tetaro McMillan had 6 receptions for 73 yards and led the Panthers. Following him was Xavier Legette with 2 receptions for 31. Rico Dowdle, 3 receptions, 28. Jimmy Horn, 2 receptions, 21. They had 198 yards there. Bryce Young had a fumble. Bradley Chubb was able to get on top of it. And then in terms of defensive stats, Jordan Brooks, once again, leading the team with tackles, 13 total tackles. He had half a sack and a QB hit. Minka Fitzpatrick, 9 total, 6 solo, 1 pass deflection, and an interception return for 7 yards. Rasul Douglas, 6 totals, 6 solo. And then some key stats. Jack Jones with 1 pass deflection. Jaden Phillips with a sack, tackle for a loss, and 2 QB hits. Zach Sealer with a QB hit. Let's see what else. Bradley Chubb, sack, tackle for a loss, and a QB hit. And Chop Robinson with a tackle for a loss. And Kenneth Grant with a sack. Welcome to the team, Kenneth Grant. Number 1 first round pick there for the Dolphins. And finally showing him face on the stat sheet here. And a QB hit there as well. Now we move on to the Carolina Panthers. Christian Roseboom had 9 total, 5 solo with a tackle for a loss. Trayvon Morhig with 3 tackles for a loss. And then Nick Scott, 5 total, 4 solo. And then some key stats there. Nick Scorton with a tackle for a loss. Ashawn Robinson with a sack, 2 tackles for a loss, and 1 QB hit. Corey Thornton with a pass deflection. Derek Brown with a sack, tackle for a loss, and a QB hit. Same thing for Patrick Jones II. And that's about it for this defensive stats for the Carolina Panthers. Now, let's talk about some special team stuff. Malik Washington had 4 returns for 98 total yards on kick returns. D. Eskridge had 1 return for 24. TJ Dallas, 5 total kick returns for 113 yards. Let's see what else. Malik Washington, 3 punt returns for 29 yards. Carolina Panthers had no punt returns. And then kicking, Riley Patterson had 1 field goal 1 for 1 on field goals, longest of 43. 3 for 3 on extra points. Meanwhile, Ryan Fitzgerald had 2 for 2 on field goals, longest of 49, and 3 for 3 on extra points. Jake Bailey had 6 punts for 312 yards, 3 of which were in the 20, longest of 61. Sam Martin, 3 punts for 161 yards, longest of 60. So those are all the stats. When it came down to the keys of victory, I said that the Miami Dolphins need to get to Bryce Young, which they did well in the first half. Second half, far from it. And then, meanwhile, on the offensive side of the football, needed to get the ball to Devon Achane. Did well with that on the passing game, but 16 rushing yards off of 10 carries. Not great by him. Also, just not great by the Miami Dolphins to not stick to it. And then, last but not least, execution and lack of penalties. They had 9 penalties for 60-something yards and just were madly inefficient on third down offensively. So the Miami Dolphins 100% lost themselves this game, and they have no one else to blame but themselves. This was a really, 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 really big letdown for Miami Dolphins and their fans, and it's going to be tough to see how this organization moves forward now being 1-4 rather than 2-3 with a possibility of facing a Chargers team that has some questionable performances. So, yeah, this is really upsetting as a Dolphins fan. Not only that, just seeing how this team is essentially wasting away the season. I understand the injury to Tyreek Hill is big and a big setback in a sense, but that shouldn't be the end of the world. It's one player, and this Miami Dolphins team looked good enough to go on the road, get a Big Ten win, and save their season each and every week moving forward. But it's looking very, very grim, and yeah, tough spot for this Miami Dolphins team. That pretty much wraps it up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.